This is where we live, planet Earth. It's a rather small planet in a very large universe, but we care a lot about this planet because it's, frankly, the only one that we have. We are not very good at living in harmony with this planet or with each other on this planet. Actually, we are rather busy seemingly destroying the only home that we have. We're also rather busy killing each other, spending large chunks of our budgets and our resources on war, on weapons. Half of us live in poverty on less than €2 per day. 1 in 8 of us is chronically undernourished. Some of us are doing very well. 85 individuals own as much wealth as the poorest 3.5 billion people on the planet, which is half of us. We are seemingly depleting the resources on the planet as fast as we can and leaving a bit of a polluted mess behind. We're a little confused about what to do about this. We don't really even agree on what the problem is. We are not very good at paying attention. A lot of us don't. We're not very good at listening to each other. A lot of us are afraid of saying what we really feel and what we really think. So what can we do? How can we possibly start acting more intelligently together? Where can we start? What should we do? Well, we could start right here, right now, with a fundamental ability that all of us have of how we make sense out of things. Something is here. We're living in some kind of reality. We're not totally sure what it is. We're certainly trying to find out, and we have some excellent theories, but even the most advanced scientific theories make it sound a little bit crazy. Quantum mechanics, string theory, 11 dimensions, parallel universes, entanglement. We're not really sure which ones will end up being the right ones. But even if we don't necessarily understand the ultimate nature of reality, we can say some definite things about the way that we make sense of it. Something happens. There are events, processes going on. We perceive them through our senses and then through our nervous system. For example, photons hit receptors in my eyes, and nerve signals will send them to my brain, and my brain will try to construct objects of what I supposedly am seeing. And it will fill in some of the blanks of the things I didn't actually see, but which I thought I saw. I attach words to the things I experience. This is the floor, this is a screen. I can talk about it. We can construct theories, bodies of knowledge about what we think we know. And we can end up deciding what it means, and then we can respond to what that means. This is called abstraction, this process. Here I use abstraction as a verb, as something that we do. We abstract. We move from what is real further and further away into what is symbolic. And we do this so much, so often, and in so many layers that we often will forget that we're doing it. And we might forget what was there in the first place. We might think that our ideas are reality, and they aren't. Even if you're very smart and your ideas are very good, they're still ideas. The map is not the territory. It's very useful to make maps of how the world is laid out, and we can use those maps for navigating through the world. But the moment that you forget that they're just maps, then you're likely to get lost. Your GPS will not always bring you to the right place. But it's this ability to think abstractly and to make maps of the world that has made us humans the most advanced species on the planet. At least we think so. We examine the world around us. We try to understand it, gather knowledge. We use this for communicating to each other, to teach and to discuss what really is there and what's going on and what we're going to do. And this is also what allows us to create technology, which allows us to influence and transform the world around us. It's, however, also this ability to abstract which makes us a little bit crazy sometimes. We take things literally, as if they're exactly like we say they are or like they look like they are. We oversimplify things and then we act on those oversimplifications. So a lot of our problems come from that. But how can we start moving beyond that? Well, we can be aware that this is going on, for one thing, that a lot of our problems are coming from oversimplified abstractions. So we can be aware of it, and what else? Well, we can realize that words are not necessarily the things they're talking about. Words are very useful. I am using words right now to talk to you. We could say that words are like pointers that point to something. If I talk about the moon, it is like I'm pointing to the moon with my finger. However, my finger is not the moon. You need to follow the finger to look at the moon. And that's not the moon either. That's a picture of the moon. A lot of confusion and conflict disappears once we're able to access the more silent level of our awareness. The more non-verbal, direct experience through our senses. Being quiet, paying attention, observing, listening, feeling. And the thing is that if you can stop and pay attention, there is a space, there's a moment where you can choose how to respond. If you're aware of both what you're perceiving from the world and you're aware of your own stored information and thoughts and feelings and knowledge, you can choose what it means and what to do about it. Between stimulus and response, there is a space. In that space lies our power to choose our response. In our response lies our growth and our freedom. It doesn't matter how horrible the things are that happen to you. Viktor Frankl was a Holocaust survivor. He was in a Nazi concentration camp during the Second World War. Most of his family members died in Auschwitz. And yet he chose to use his experiences to create a philosophy of choice and freedom. Nelson Mandela said it too. No one can take from me the ultimate freedom, the freedom to decide how I will respond to what happens. Mandela was 27 years in prison, in isolation, for political reasons, forced to do hard physical labor every day, and yet he created something very positive from that. We don't always control what happens in our lives. We might not even always control what emotions we have about it, but we always have the opportunity to choose what it means, which then will influence how we will respond, how we'll act, and how we will then feel about that. And your life is mostly the result of how you've responded and how you've acted. If you've been fired from your job and your car just broke down, and it's raining and you have a cold, and your mother-in-law is coming visiting tomorrow, it doesn't matter how long the list of bad news is. You always have the chance of deciding what that means. You can make it really bad, or you could make it good. The situation and the circumstances might be exactly the same, but your choice will create a different outcome. Many problems in the world are the result of fixed negative conclusions that we've made about each other. And we don't really work very well together if we're all reacting to simplistic pictures and labels that we have in our minds that don't really correspond to reality. Reality is fluid, always in motion. Reality has many nuances. It's never just black and white. Life is complex. The current world is mostly the result of abstract ideas in action. Sometimes it's the result of fixed negative ideas that collide, but our accomplishments also come from our abstract thinking. Imagine if, instead of fixed ideas, we can move beyond the words, beyond fixed ideas, beyond our own belief systems, and we can deal a little more with what actually is there together. Out beyond ideas of right doing and wrong doing, there's a field. I will meet you there. If we can all be aware of our own ideas and the ideas of others without having to instantly judge them or take them as reality or react to them, we can be free to make better choices. Thank you very much.